What do you see? Oh no! What is it?
An avalanche of snow is getting ready to dump over a big chunk of the country. Will it impact your area? I'll let you know coming up next. Hello everybody and welcome back to the Weather Nerds YouTube channel. I'm meteorologist Greg Majeski, and before we get rolling today, I first want to dedicate this to my father-in-law who passed away yesterday. James, this video is for you. Alright, before we get started, we always like to thank all our new subscribers. We're continuing our growth. We're up to 2,491 of you. And if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, like the 97% of you out there who haven't just yet, please consider, do me the honor, do me the privilege to go ahead and serve you better. Just hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell so you're alerted on future content. And go ahead and leave me a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, as it really does help with the YouTube algorithm as we continue to try to grow this channel. Now, this map over here, we're definitely going to see some big changes to it over the next 10 days. So let's go ahead and talk about what you need to know for this edition. All right, the first thing we're going to talk about, we do have a severe weather threat with this next storm system coming into the new work week. We're going to talk specifics on that. And then we're going to take a look at the European model, the latest overnight model, and take a look at the tracks for these next storm systems, not only responsible for the severe weather, but also the potential blizzard conditions over parts of the country. Then we're going to go ahead by region. We're going to take a look at the snow and where the heaviest snow amounts are going to fall across the nation. And then finally, we'll get an update on where that Arctic air is going to be settling in and kind of progressing across the country. Yeah, we're talking about those sub-zero temperatures. We'll get an update on that as well. So plenty to talk about. Let's go ahead and get rolling and take a look at that severe weather threat. So we're going to first focus on the different elements of this next major storm system. That one is kind of a spring element to it with the severe weather, and the winter element, which is the potential blizzards. So we're going to focus on the severe side of this first as we go ahead and take us a closer look in here. We're talking about the day 2 outlook. This is Monday going into Tuesday morning, and this area along the Gulf Coast with the slight risk of severe weather that we're expecting right through here. And would not shock me potentially to see if this gets bumped up to an enhanced. Possibly. We'll see how it goes as we get closer to this potential severe weather as we go into your Monday and Tuesday period. Now, we can also break this down by the different severe categories. So let's go first take a look at the tornado threat. It is there. So you see the area there in brown for covering Louisiana. We're talking about the cities of New Orleans, Biloxi, Mobile, Pensacola, and getting pretty close to Destin. So we're looking at about a potential 5% chance of tornadoes in that area. So that's why I do expect some tornado watch boxes, obviously, to put in place. There's also the high wind threat. We're talking about winds greater than 55 miles per hour, stretching from the Texas Gulf Coast over to near Corpus Christi, going all the way over to near Apalachicola. And again, you got those big cities near Houston, New Orleans, Mobile as well in the target zone for that. And yes, there is a hail element to this as well. Large hail greater than 3/4 inch in that yellow zone there, specifically kind of mirroring the other two images as well. So that's something we're going to watch very closely Monday into Tuesday. Then the storm system is going to shift as we go into Tuesday and Wednesday. And this is mostly a Tuesday, at least looking at the model data. I'll show you that here specifically. But let's go over to day 3 outlook here, and it shifts over toward the eastern seaboard. So we're talking about here from the Carolinas, stretching back in here through a big chunk of Florida as we go into Tuesday and Wednesday. I think by Wednesday this should be clearing off the eastern seaboard, and we'll see things begin to improve in that area. But again, you got a couple days of the severe weather threat that'll be moving through with this next storm system. So let's go ahead and transition and take a look at the winter side of this. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the latest European model run and see where the blizzard conditions are possible to hit. So as we go ahead and take a look at the latest here, we're going out for the next 10 days. We've got 3 major storm systems we're going to talk about. First, going to focus in on this first one, and then we'll talk about the next 2, and then some of the changes in the long range, especially with the potential big Arctic outbreak that could be coming in to parts of the country. So let's go ahead and get myself out of here. Boom. And we'll go ahead and take a look at what we expect with this next storm system as we are heading into Monday morning. You got the low sitting right in here over the Texas Panhandle, and we're going to be watching that active weather to form right down in here as the storm system begins to pull off toward the east and kind of making a beeline up here toward the Midwest. And as the pressure deepens, that means the air will get more dynamic. There's going to be abundant wind energy with this, not only across where we're expecting the blizzard conditions, but also very windy conditions across the southeast. Probably going to have numerous wind advisories up as well with this system as it progresses. So you're going to have gusty winds in the southeast regardless of that, because you've got this area of high pressure here off toward the east. You got the high pressure here, so you got a high here, and you got a low here. So that difference, that pressure gradient between those two is going to be quite intense. So as this low deepens, it gets stronger, and that high slowly retreats on out. It's going to be very windy across the southeast. But as we go into late in the day on Tuesday, that's when we're expecting the active weather along the Gulf Coast. It'll be right down here with the severe part of the storm. Then the blizzard part of the storm will start to happen, or start to take shape here across areas of the plains through Kansas and going into Iowa, and it's really going to deepen up as it heads up toward the Great Lakes as we go into Monday and into Tuesday. So let's go forward in time on this as we watch the storm system get stronger. Notice that pressure dropping to 991. Notice the thunderstorms there across areas of the deep south. We'll go ahead and zoom in here a little closer. Again, as you're seeing some very torrential rains across areas of, say, Atlanta, Georgia, coming down toward the Florida Panhandle. This will be where the severe weather will be, and the potential for isolated tornadoes will be in the cards with this system as it moves through that area. And then we're watching this system as it continues to track in over the Great Lakes. Those purple areas, by the way, that's kind of a mixture of sleet, freezing rain, and snow. The pressure down to 984 just south of Chicago. So, I mean, you're looking at maybe some blizzard conditions into Chicago, a major travel hub to say the least. So, severe travel delays on Tuesday, not out of the cards. And those areas across New England that got a lot of that heavy snow are going to have heavy rain falling on top of that snow. So that is also going to be a bit of a problem. Isolated flooding not out of the question there with that rain on top of the snow, a little bit of snow melt. Yeah, you're going to have problems. So the big storm continues to move up toward the north and east. Pressure drops to 975 millibars. You're going to be looking at southern Canada here is going to see some blizzard-like conditions there with some very heavy snow. Getting some of that wraparound snow on the back part of this a little bit. Just some snow shower activity with that colder shock coming down. And that'll be for the next storm system for this new work week. But folks, that's not the only one. We got more back behind this, so we're just going to go ahead and continue to track forward on this model run as we go into Thursday. We got a couple of quiet days, but here's our next storm system here. It's taking shape. Gee, it looks almost like the last one, doesn't it? Yeah, because it kind of does, but we'll go ahead and focus this forward once again. Notice we're getting some thunderstorms. This one does not appear to be quite as dynamic as the one we're expecting earlier in the week as we go into Friday. But once again, where this is kind of sitting, I couldn't rule out a severe element with this one as well. Maybe not as high, but it will definitely be there, I think, potentially as we go into Friday with the system. The northern side of this, once again, seeing the snow chances once again, as we'll get another element of snow falling on top of areas that have already gotten snow. So it's definitely a 1-2 punch across the middle portion of the country. The low pressure deepens, not as strong as the other one, but still 984 is nothing to sneeze at. And we've got a lot of heavy snows on the northern side of this. You see those dark blues in there. That's indicative of the heavier snows as this frontal system would be clearing down here toward the south. So again, I'm not expecting the severe weather to be as strong with this next system, but a pretty good snow dump with this next system as we go into Friday and Saturday, going in toward the 13th of January. And you see the heavy snows again going into southern Canada once again, getting plowed with the heavy snows. And then we get a little bit of a break, and then our attention shifts out here to the west coast. We got a pretty dynamic system coming in out here on the west coast. Dumping some very heavy snows across the Sierra Nevada. Again, when I say Snowmageddon, coast to coast, I am not kidding, as we're expecting this strong storm system to come in. And this one will have an adverse effect on the overall pattern, at least the way the European is seeing it right now. Watch what happens here as I track this next storm system coming out of the Rockies. You've seen the snows there across areas of the plains and going up into Wisconsin and Illinois and Michigan. And there's a very sharp line in here, folks. This is the Arctic air. There's an Arctic plunge that's going to be coming in with this system. It's going to be charging down the south. And a bit of the polar vortex is showing its ugly head as I go forward in the time here. As we're getting a southerly flow, you got a southerly flow of moisture coming in there. You got a very sharp cold front through here. Here's some snows through the intermountain regions here with this next storm system as we go in toward the 16th. Now, again, this is a long ways out. This is beyond 7 days. So this is likely to change, but we're going to watch this very closely because what it's dumping in here is, I'm seeing 498 right through here. This is part of the polar vortex, folks, coming down. Some very cold and frigid air diving into the middle of the country. Look at these isobars in here. You're talking it's extremely windy conditions. So if it's coming down as cold as advertised, you're looking at some very, very cold wind chills with this as well as this comes on in, and it presses on to the south and east as this next frontal system kind of pushes on through here. And here's that big little chunk of the polar vortex kind of dropping down here to the south, and some very cold frigid areas and more snow falling on top of areas that have already seen snow with a 1-2 punch. So again, this is a 10-day outlook. We're tracking 3 major storms and some very cold Arctic air coming into parts of the country. I mean, you're seeing a 1052 high back here across the Intermountain region, and that's usually indicative of a very strong Arctic cold air mass coming down into the country. All right, we've talked about our storm systems. We got 3 of them. Let's go ahead and look at the snow totals for that Snowmageddon. That's what I tease. We'll talk about the snow totals that are going to be impacting a lot of the country as we head to the next 10 days. So let's go take a look at that right now. All right, so we're going to break this down by region. We're looking at the European, and we're going to take you all the way out to the end of its run so you can see the potential of how much snow can cover a specific part of the country over the next 10 days. Now, obviously, this is going to change a little bit, but again, I just want you guys to take it into account the potential that's there for some very heavy, significant snows, not only for here in the Northeast, which we're going to go take a look at, but also across many areas of the country from coast to coast. That wasn't just a clickbait. That's just the potential we're looking at right now as we head for the next few days here in January. So let me get out of the way here. We're going to take a look at the Northeast first as I go ahead and zoom this all the way out to the end of its run, going out 10 days, taking us all the way out to the end of the day on Wednesday on January the 17th. And check out some of these snow totals, man. We're talking feet of snow, 2 to 3 feet of snow, a big area here. You see this pinkish area here across portions of New England and also across areas of southern Canada in here. We're talking 2 to 3 feet of snow, and even your best snow lovers, that can really shut things down. And you're seeing some higher snow mounts here across some of the mountainous areas as well, going to Pennsylvania and New York. So that's for the Northeast. Let's go ahead and shift gears. We're going to shift over to the Midwest. We'll take a look at the areas there, including Chicago, Green Bay, Milwaukee, heading over to Detroit, Des Moines, that whole area there, Minneapolis, and we'll zoom this one out, and you can see where the heavier snows are falling, and again, those sequential storms. Looks like areas of northern Minnesota, you're going to get a little bit, but not as much. But again, look at this big, large area here with showing the very heavy snow amounts cutting here across a lot of Michigan, big chunk of Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, and we're talking areas here, again, over 1 foot of snow, 1.5 feet of snow across a lot of Michigan, looking at 1.5 feet plus snow across Ohio and parts of Iowa as well. So the Midwest, you're also going to get blasted with some heavy snow that'll extend out into the plains. All right, let's go ahead and shift to another part of the country. How about we check out here toward the west? So we're talking about California, the Sierra Nevada. They're going to get plenty of snow as well as they get hit with several storm systems, including a lot of the Intermountain region. And look at those. Look at the snow totals there across the Sierra Nevada. We're talking upwards of 2 to 3, 4 feet of snow in these higher areas. There's 52 inches of snow there. So some very, very high snow totals here across areas of California. Right through here with the very high snow amounts. In the Intermountain region, Utah, you're getting some pretty decent snow amounts as well. The Intermountain has been kind of low on the low side with their snow totals, but we're definitely going to be adding to these as these sequential storm systems continue to come at each other one after another as we go through the next 10 days. Let's go and shift up to the northwest. Let's go check up here as well. And we don't forget our friends up here in Washington and Oregon. You're also going to get blasted. Look at those heavy snow mounts up in those mountains, man. We're talking some serious, serious snow here to keep the snow plows busy right through here into Northern California, up through Oregon, and then through Washington State. Getting some very, very heavy snow as well. Parts of Idaho up here in northern Idaho. Got some YouTube friends up that way. They're also looking at potential of 1 to 2 feet as well. You've seen all this dark purple in here. All this is in here is basically 1 foot plus of snow here across areas of the Pacific Northwest, that portion of the country. I will take one final look here at the high plains. This is probably the least least the area of the country that's going to get the least amount of snow, I should say, as we take this all the way out. They're still going to get it, but just not as much. You're looking at the Dakotas here, and you're looking at, what, 4, 5, 6 inches. Yeah, not as bad, but they're not getting into the purple areas. So areas here across the Dakotas right through here, not going to see as much of heavy snow as the storm track is staying off toward the south, and that's where the heavier snow potential is going to be over the next 10 days heading out to the 17th for that part of the country. So this is literally a coast-to-coast event with heavy snows for multiple storm systems, and it's going to be something that'll be fun to watch as we go through time. Let's go ahead and take a look. Last thing to look at is the very cold Arctic air that we're expecting across parts of the country, as we could get a little chunk of the polar vortex to drop down. Let's go ahead and take a look at that right now. So our final update is on that Arctic air. We've been talking about this for some time now, but we are going to get a big chunk of very cold Arctic air mass. We're not talking about polar. We're talking sub-zero temperatures that are going to be taking up some big chunk of real estate across parts of the United States as we go through this next 7 to 10 day period. So let me go ahead and get myself out of the way here. We're going to step you through this as we're starting on Monday the 8th, and we're going to take you all the way out to the 17th as we track this very cold air that's going to be on the move. So watch closely as we watch that storm system begin to pull in some of that cold air, especially as we head into this upcoming weekend storm. The first one won't really drop all that much cold air, but we're going to be focusing areas up in here where this cold air is going to really start diving down here toward the south as we head into this upcoming weekend. So the following weekend going into the 13th or so. So watch this as we step on through. You're seeing more and more of the country getting that purple coming in there. Those are temperatures getting below zero as we head into this next weekend. Again, the 13th and 14th. Look at some of these readings up here. We're talking about readings up here getting into 33, 40 below zero. Some very, very frigid cold air hitting areas of the upper part of Idaho and into Missouri. Very dangerous Arctic air coming down. You throw in the wind chills, it's going to be even much colder than that as this thing begins to ooze like molasses. Arctic air is very heavy, and it's going to start spreading itself out as we go into Monday and Tuesday into the 15th. And look at these readings here: 36 below zero, 39 below zero. This area is here in white that you're seeing. We're talking temperatures going 30 below zero. Some very cold temperatures. Again, we're looking at wind chills potentially over 50 below zero as this settles on in. Look how much of the country here on, as we head late in the day on Monday, is seeing temperatures below zero. I mean, it's just very, very frigid. I'll zoom in here a little bit closer again, and just look at that. I mean, that is a big chunk of real estate seeing some very, very cold Arctic air as this very strong Arctic high pressure moves in across the Intermountain region with some serious cold temperatures moving in, and eventually this is going to spread off toward the east as we go into the tail end of this model run very slowly. Does start to modify just a little bit, but you notice this very sharp cold front in here diving right through here. That'll bring some of that cold air into the eastern third of the United States, but a big chunk of the country is going to see some very cold, frigid air moving in, especially as we head toward next weekend. So we're talking about that 7 to 10 day period when some very extreme cold could move in across the country. And that'll wrap it up for this edition. And as you can see, it's going to be a very, very busy next 10 days here across a lot of the United States. We got heavy snows, we got severe weather, we've got some really Arctic air coming in, some extreme Arctic air coming in across the country. So you need to go ahead and stay weather aware. It's going to be quite busy for a lot of forecasters across the nation. So if you like to get updates and you like what you see, go ahead and please subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you're alerted on future content, and give me a thumbs up or comment down below. It really helps as we continue to try to grow this channel, and I want to keep you guys up to date on the latest changes as we continue through winter 2024. It'll continue to change. There's no absolutes in forecasting, so you got to stay up when the conditions do change. Once again, I dedicate this whole video to my father-in-law who passed away yesterday at the age of 90 years old. He had a very blessed life, and we're sure going to miss him. That's your update for now. You guys take it easy. We'll see you on the next update. Bye-bye for now.